What's up, everybody? It's your girl Jerrell, also known as Black Lady Tarot, and here we use tarot cards to help guide us through self-care, productivity, and rest. I'm so happy you clicked on this video because I am so excited to finally do another review, and this time this deck is so true to my heart. It is the True Heart Intuitive Tarot by most talented writer, actress, Rachel True. I'm gonna get to the straight meat and potatoes. I'm sure there's other videos that do walkthroughs of each card, but in this video, I just really wanted to talk about how the deck made me feel and how it was connecting with it and my thoughts on the content of this deck, and it is so magical, okay? So let's get right in. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Black Lady Tarot for more videos with tarot, intuitive tarot readings, and just a little bit more about me and my offerings. So first of all, the packaging is really nice. I like that this is a sturdy box, and it also has the little flips on the side that you can quite nicely close and don't have to worry about if it falls. I have kids, so sometimes my deck falls off the shelf. I don't have to worry about the cards falling all over the place. But the book, guys, I had the pleasure of watching the video that Rachel True and Cree Summer did on YouTube. It was an interview. Oh my God, it was so good. Just to see them two together and be in their own personality and just to show so much of themselves. It seemed as if they were just having a conversation amongst themselves and that they weren't even doing an interview. It was almost like we got a peek into their own conversation or their own Zoom call talking about this beautiful deck. So it was really nice to enjoy. They are so funny. I felt like that they were my best friends in my own head. Let's get into the guidebook. I don't even want to call it a guidebook. I feel like this is just a book that anybody that is interested in tarot, or even if you are a seasoned reader like myself, you can definitely still benefit from this book. I have a lot of decks and I choose my decks very carefully. I don't just go out and get the most popular deck or the most trending deck. This is one of the only guidebooks that I've ever seen that talks so much about intuition before they even get into the card. This book talks about preparing your space before you even get into the cards. It talks about how to tap into your energy. She shares some beautiful exercises, visualization exercises on tapping into your own intuition, reading the energy and noticing resonating feelings inside of yourself when you're thinking about specific details of your life. She gives a beautiful example that she learned from her acting experience and kind of applies that to tarot in a way that you can place yourself inside of the cards and inside of the characters of each card to help get your own intuitive juices flowing. So completely amazed by that. And I always tell my clients to carve out space before they meet with me. So sometimes I may have clients that are multitasking, that are driving or just doing some other big task that may distract them. And I ask them to politely either reschedule, give the energy their undivided attention. She talks about the importance of that and the importance of eliminating as many distractions as you can before you start getting into reading the tarot, whether it's for your own personal or for someone else, how important that is so that you can really hear the messages that are being intuitively downloaded in your brain. It let me know that her intentions truly are to equip everyone with the tools that they need so that they can connect to their own intuitive power. She talks a lot about going away from the traditional meanings of the deck and really leaning into your own intuition, and then finding out the true meanings or interpretations or the symbolism in the deck. But first, connecting with your own intuitive power. And you hear a lot of other writers talk about that or touch on that, but she actually gives detailed real-time practices in this book that you can utilize to connect with your power, which I thought was just a beautiful gift. Also, I don't even know if I mentioned, guys, that Rachel True is one of the actresses in the cult classic The Craft back in the 90s. So there's that. Something that she also added that I hadn't seen in tarot decks is when she talks about the major arcana. And I thought that this was a genius idea because the major arcana is a blueprint or a draft or outline. I just keep knocking this over. Wait a minute, hold on. Right there, boom, won't be an issue anymore. Since the major arcana is a blueprint of the human experience or of humanity, she takes each card in the major arcana and pairs it not only with the intuitive messages, but also an essay, a personal essay of how the archetype in that major arcana card personally reflects and shows up in her past life, currently, future. She tells real-time stories that are paired with the major arcana card, which I thought was brilliant. So I hadn't had the pleasure of reading all the essays, but I did read her essay that she attached with the Hierophant major arcana card, and it talked about her growing up in a high school or grammar school that she was the only Black student besides her and her brother, and those first experiences that she learned about what that meant being Black in a predominantly white space, especially a learning environment, knowing at an early age that she had to minimize her light because it felt as if it didn't matter. And I could relate to her story so much because I too at a young age spent a lot of time being the token Black girl and being the only Black girl in large white spaces. So I definitely resonated with the feelings that she was having, but just those early moments of being very, very smart and scoring very, very high on tests, and the principals and administrating looking at that and knocking her down and trying to take points off. So she talks about that story and how it made her feel and how it impacted the way that she moved with her head down until an opportunity came up in life, how she moved through life. Really, really transparent. And I appreciate it so much. In her interview with Cree, she gave little anecdotes of other stories, and I'm really, really excited about her love life and about her career, being Black and mixed or biracial in this world and what that looked like. A lot of things that I was just really excited that I had the pleasure of reading those personal essays. One thing that I also really, really appreciated, not everybody knows, tarot decks and guidebooks come with tarot spreads. You usually see typically the same type of spreads, your past, present, and future, your Celtic cross, or different variations of that. She actually gave a very big spread. This is a 11 card mother piece spread. And so she gives a very detailed spread. She puts emphasis on the placements, the significance of geometry, and how physically where the cards are and how that influences the energy of the cards. I thought it was really, really nice for her to talk about the different shapes and how they affect the energy. So again, I just hadn't seen that in a guidebook before done in this way. Alone, this guidebook, I get this deck just off the guidebook alone. And I'm not even really a big guidebook person. But if you are getting into tarot, you definitely want to look at this book because it's going to help empower your own intuitive gifts. And it's also going to give you some very concrete meanings to the cards, okay? So let's get into the deck and some of the cards. I pulled out some of my favorite cards. Now, before I get into my favorite cards, I'm going to quickly mention this card stock gate everybody on the internet is talking about and saying, oh, the card stock isn't that good. It's so cheap. It's so flimsy. I can't even read it. I just think that readers, especially professional readers or anybody who really cares about tarot cards, really need to start thinking about all the work that goes into making a tarot deck and presenting and packaging a tarot deck. There are so many different components, and it really depends on what's important to you. Some people really only think about the physical quality and the illustrations of the cards. That's all that matters to them, so that's all they're judging. And I think that that is a very unfair metric to review a tarot deck on. There's so much other work that goes into it. With a guidebook, there's so much writing, there's so much care, there's so much intention that you can see and things that you can use in your practice that other tarot decks just didn't even simply bother to touch on. You really have to weigh the different components, and then also the illustrations, the colors on these cards are just amazing. One of the things I loved about the illustration, it still has a historic feel to it, just as far as the way it's drawn. It still kind of sticks to a more cartoon basic look, but still gives it a little bit of modern twist with some of the with the characters. It's really fascinating how she kind of ties in a little bit of modern and traditional type of drawing. I'm not an artist, so I don't really know what it's called, but the sketches on here just give me a little bit of the old school feel, which I love. I also love the back of this deck. It has the cups, the wands, the swords, and the pentacles or discs. So I appreciated that as well. I think it looks really cool. I love the maroon color, and it has some pops of purple in here, purple flowers. So really grounding and loving energy. And again, talking about the card stack of this deck, and people were really complaining. At the end of the day, I like the thinness of the cards because I am able to put this in my hand. I'm able to do a bridge shuffle. Oh. Let's try that again. Able to do a full bridge because it's thin, and it's able to, oh, look at this, 9 of Swords too. I love that. It just shows it all being in your head, and that's a way that can offer comfort in knowing that, you know, it can be worked out and it can be sorted out. It's just in your head. It's not actually anything that has happened yet. But see how these cards, they just But yeah, I'm able to shuffle this deck quite easily and quite nicely. I don't like my cards being super crispy. And honestly, if I get a reading from somebody and their cards are just a little bit too crispy, looks like they've never been used, I might use that as an indicator to see, like, do you even read tarot? Like, why is your card so crispy? They look like they haven't been touched. Okay, so let's talk about some of my favorite. Ooh, guys, I really like the Chariot cards. With these characters, I feel more connected, especially the Black characters, because I just feel like I know what that face is and I know what that look means. This card felt very safe. I pulled it, and that's what I connect with the Chariot cards. When you get that message that your chariot has arrived, you feel a sense of relief. You feel a sense of, take a break, let me take my shoes off, and I don't have to worry anymore, and I'm still getting to my destination at accelerated pace. So that is the feels. I felt very safe when I saw this person driving the chariot. Another card, we got to give a shout out to the Queen of Swords. I love the color of her dress. And one of the things that I noticed is the little hip action that she's giving me. Like, if you take a look, she kind of has her left foot standing out, which is giving her a little hip curve action. And again, that's just something that, you know what I'm saying, the sisters, you know, that we can connect with, because I pose like that in all of my pictures. So it's giving me a confidence, is giving me a little bit of sensuality, something that I never attached with the Queen of Swords before. But of course, you know, it's connecting and giving me a little bit of feminine energy in the Queen of Swords, whereas I mostly would feel a masculine energy. Okay. And I also like the way that she's holding the sword. Usually when I see the Queen of Swords, I would think it would be impossible for her to have any control over the sword by the way that she was holding it. But something in this Queen of Swords, even though it's not the ideal way to hold a sword before you strike, it feels like she has very much control. Her eyes feel like she knows exactly what she's talking about and exactly what she's doing. And there's a little part of this smirk that they added to the Queen of Swords, which is kind of like she's here for the smoke. Like, she wants to get into some stuff. Like, she is not afraid of conflict and kind of likes it a little bit. It just gave me some different things to feel off of. I didn't even realize I had pre-pulled some of my favorite cards from this deck, and now I'm looking like there are a lot of swords. So I obviously am just really a fan of her sword collection in this deck. But I like the motif. Okay, so I got two cards here, the 8 of Swords and the 4 of Swords. But I really liked in the motif 1 of the shadow of black, slide in whatever image you want. Then also the levitation that's happening in both of these cards, which is a beautiful thing, because when you think about swords, you think about constraint so much. You think about a barrier. You think about not really having that much control. The way that she interprets this cards with it levitating it just amplifies the power that is in rest, and how rest is magical, and how things are still happening in rest. This kind of gives rest a more active feel, a peaceful, active feel, which I love. Lots of symbolism. I want to also say that her cards have a lot of symbolism in it, so you can spend a lot of time just staring at it, and you will be guaranteed another image or something that you hadn't noticed will just pop up into the card. So very, very lovely. This again, this Eight of Swords and how she's hovering. The Eight of Swords usually feels like you can't go anywhere, that you're restricted, but this just again reinforces the power that you already have inside of you, and the control that you do have, and that you can walk away and step forward or get yourself out the bind when you so choose. Another card, major arcana card that I, oh my God, am in love with so much is the Sun card. Now, you're not going to be able to see all the details. I'm just going to try to describe it as best I can. But this sun here is one of those moments again that I was looking at for a very long time, because it gave me this mandala feel. Like there is so many layers inside of this sun. I really, even if I count, it just feels like the closer you get to the eye that's in the middle, there's just another ring, or there's another layer that has a specific design around it. I think beautiful. I was looking at the rays coming off the sun and seeing how they actually have these fingertips, and they're pointing in different directions. So it's just, again, and then the pyramids have the light beams coming from the eyes. It's just so much you can do here when you are in a reading. So many things that you can be drawn to. The manifestation card, Eight of Wands, another one of my favorite cards, because I always pulled this card and just talked about manifestation. That's just a word that came up. The process of your thoughts and how they come into reality. And this card just it illuminates that. I love the brain patterns and the different colors, emphasizing the different parts of our brain and how they serve different purposes, how different parts are geared to create different things. And I just love this card. Loved the Queen of Disc card. It just gave me herbal medicine woman, which is definitely Queen of Pentacles energy. Love this Seven of Discs card here. One of the tarot cards that just really wasn't my favorite, the Seven of Pentacles or Seven of Discs. But this gives me so much to work with. Again, in the black shadow contrast, she's holding her belly in a way that feels like she's having a cramp, or it feels like she might even be having a Braxton Hicks contraction of some sort, and she's still working. She's, you know what I mean? Like she's got mismatched shoes on. Maybe she can't even see her feet anymore. The sun, how it's setting, so it's giving an indicator of what time, being the end of the day, and just how you may be tired and drained. So much here, again, that I can just go off with my intuition. The Star card, I don't even know why, it just almost made me cry. I'm just looking at how peaceful she is, and one of my favorite symbolism in the Star card is watching how the water flows, because it always comes out in a way that we're not used to. So I'm always interested to see how artist plays with the flow of the water. And as you can see, I mean, it's just swerving. The water is just swerving in opposite directions. It's so gentle. And I will say, she's giving us a little nudity. She's giving us a little nudity in the card, which I appreciate, just because of the feminine body is beautiful. And I just always think it's weird when there are nude images and there's no body parts. It just feels kind of fake. It feels like you're taking something out because it feels wrong or shameful. It feels Barbie-ish. I don't know what it is, but I love when I just actually see all of, or just a little bit of sensual body parts. Yeah, I really enjoy, I'm really enjoying this deck. I'm still connected with it. I may do a part 2, but I just wanted to show Rachel True some love. Thank you for creating this. I'm enjoying the book. I'm enjoying the deck, and I just can't wait to do some readings with it. So thank you again. Please like and subscribe and share this video with a friend. Also, let me know in the comments if you actually got the True Heart Intuitive Tarot, and tell me what you think about it as well. All right, until next time, guys, peace.